Crappens. Watch what crappens. Watch what crappens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that crappens? Watch what crappens. Watch what crappens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that crappens?
Well, hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens. This is part 2 of a 2-part recap. If you're like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't hear part 1. Guys, it's because we put out a lot of recaps. Go back and listen to part 1, okay? It's before this one. Bye. Enjoy the show. So then now we go to Gina's, and Gina is saying that Matt and Britt come over. So Gina's like, first of all, every time I talk about making meatballs, Meatball thinks he's going to get eaten. We think the dog Meatball, because, I got a dog named Meatball. So I say, let's eat Meatball. And the Meatball's like, oh my God, don't eat me. My name is Meatball. Like, okay, I get it. You're making meatballs for your friend from back home, your ex-husband. You need to stop pretending you have this. Why is your accent 10 times more now? Is it the meatball? Because I know that thing's frozen.
We understand you are trying to lock down an influencing deal with Ragu. We support it. But you have to mention the brand name if you want to get that deal. You can't just talk about the meatballs, okay?
Truth. So, meatball bomb. Sorry about that meatball bomb.
You know what my favorite movie was from the 80s? Meatballs.
So Britt's like, we're going to have a commitment ceremony in April. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you guys. I think it's so nice for you and the kids.
The point is, she's basically saying that, like, she's now like, now we're getting a little bit more insight. Like this, it's the situation with the ex, obviously, is preventing it. Although what I'm confused about, naively probably, is why, she shows, let me back up for a second. She shows this really kind of like sweet scene where the kids all arranged a wedding for Travis and Gina in the backyard, and like the kids were all happy. They were all happy for this. And then she's sort of suggesting that she would love to go down that path, but she can't because the ex is causing so much drama. And my question is, I get that the ex is causing drama, and I get that that's a pressure on the relationship, but why would that prevent her from getting married to Travis?
Because of money, basically, a lot of money stuff. Like if there's alimony and there's money being paid, a lot of times that can change. So if you're getting alimony from somebody and then you get married, in some agreements you don't get that alimony anymore because you're married to somebody else. Or
saying because is Travis receiving alimony from the wife? Is that what it is?
We don't know. It's rumored that he is, and that he's like the main caretaker of the kids, so she's supposed to be paying child support and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't have enough like solid details. I just know from like Reddit comments, you know what I mean? But it seems like they're in this really toxic, horrible place, and there's a lot of legal stuff and nothing's really settled. And so if he's got Gina's income coming in that's supporting their family, is there any legal right for her to be getting any of that for the kids, or her saying, well, I shouldn't have to pay him that much because he's living in a household where they're making $250,000 a year or whatever. So why am I having to pay this alimony? So I think they're having to separate, and this is all just me speculating, but I think they're having to separate for reasons like that, because she doesn't want this lady coming after her money and her kids just because she's partners with Travis.
Yeah, I do genuinely feel bad for Gina about this, because that really does suck. I also was amused because there's a lot of Gina talking like in her interview, telling us about this situation, and they clearly did like a pickup, meaning that they shot more of the interview like several months later, and so it's going back and forth between the original interview and the pickup, and so her hair, she has that awful hair in that one in the original interview where it's like this strange helmet that's like the hair is going from the right all the way to the left. It's like a strange comb over that she has, and then in the pickup it's much nicer, so her hair's going from like changing from like crazy to normal to crazy to normal as she's doing these sentences, and I'm like, you gotta do better at trying to create some consistency here.
Oh really? Because I thought, wow, how did they not fix her hair in this?
Well, it went from your camera, you just got attacked by Travis's ex, the boogie woman. Oh, and you're muted now also. I'm just going to move forward.
For fuck's sake.
The TLDR here.
Disaster. I'm over here calling Gina a disaster. My camera's fallen for the 5th time. I'm dropping everything.
Every time your camera, every time your camera falls over, it looks like you got raided by the police. It's like, freeze, put your hands up. Anyway, the point is this: Gina's hair is wild, and I've not gotten over it yet. And she's in a sad situation, and she's also making meatballs, and she feels bad.
Yeah, and she just wants to co-parent better with Matt and Brett, and she's like, "Oh my god, like Brett, you're like so lucky you got me as the ex, and I got crazy pants over there, you know." And so then we find out. I mean, it's just like a little small talk about people.
And basically, Britt is basically debating whether or not she'll take Matt's last name, and if she does, her name will be Britt Terry Lynn DeSola Kirschenheiter, which means that she will be ready to join the Real Housewives of New Jersey with that name.
Yeah. So then we go to Katie and Matt's, and this is where Katie does her like, I'm supposed to cook dinner, but I didn't cook it. I bought it, and I'm going to pretend I cooked it. Ha, 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 ha.
I can't. So then Katie's like, oh, so by the way, Matt, let me tell you about the beef, which I also didn't cook. Eddie and Ryan, they haven't seen each other in months. And apparently Ryan went on a podcast and bashed Tamara and Eddie. He's like, wow. Now, who are Tamara and Eddie?
He's like, can I go to my office? No, you have to stay here for this dinner, Matt. So Emily and Shane come first. Always the guest you want first, you know? Hey.
Emily comes marching in. Yeah. And Shane's like, hey, Emily, can that purse be used as a weapon? You know it. And then
there's a very hard turkey sandwich in here I can beat someone with.
And a new whip. So then Tamara and Eddie show up next, and more hellos. And finally, Jen and Ryan show up. And by the way, I'm not sure if Jen has finally decided to save some money and stop using glam, but it seems like maybe this was not professionally handled for this episode. I'm not sure.
I didn't notice. I think I only noticed Gina's hair because it's like the outfit, you know, that she like publicly apologized for. She actually came out. She's like, guys, they can't all be winners, okay? Like, please stop threatening my family. People are like sending her bomb threats and stuff. Like, please.
It's really one of the worst interview looks we've ever had on any franchise. I'm sorry. It's like such a failure on so many levels. Like, and I'm not.
Yeah, and still came back with that terrible hair. So Gina, I noticed. I don't really notice anybody else's glam. I don't get it. No, except on this show when they show the tracks of their, because this show has the worst hair extensions and stuff. So I love pointing out their tracks because those are hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's hair extensions look like ramps on Mario Kart. But Jen, her makeup, I was like, what is going? I don't even notice makeup most of the time. And I was like, what is happening here? So Ryan walks in and he goes up to Eddie, goes, hey, it's great to see you. And then he's like, sort of opens up his arms. He's like, you're gonna give me a hug? And he's like, no, I won't. He's like, okay, it's great to see you. And then Eddie walks away and he's like, so you're just gonna hide? Okay. I'm like, no, he's not hiding from you. He just doesn't want to look at your jacket.
He's hiding from your fashion. Eddie is like seriously like looking away, like, oh, I'm just gonna look at the ceiling. Someone walked in I don't like.
Entire episode, he's looking.
No, don't hug me. I don't want to hug you. And then he walks away, making a big deal, like fuck that guy to everybody. So like really super mature, you know. So then everyone's speculating, like, are they going to get in a fight? Are they going to get in a fight? And Katie's like, oh my God, please don't break any of our wine glasses. They're like $80 each. Okay, that's another reason you can't be here. That should be nothing to you. Or you should at least be able to pretend that it's nothing. Like, you broke a glass, what, it's $80? So it's the price of a tortilla. Like, literally don't care.
Price of each, $80 each. That's probably as much as Danielle stopped spend on each of her implants. So Shannon, Shane...
Damn.
No one is safe today. Just when you thought it was safe to disappear into obscurity.
So then Shane is like, oh, Annie, you don't drink. And he's like, not unless I have to tolerate the environment like that guy.
It's a little bullshitty in here.
Oh God. So then go ahead.
No. I was wondering if this was when Ryan. Oh, no. Sorry, I was skipping ahead in my mind. So yeah, Eddie is performatively doing that thing like I'm holding myself back from swinging a punch, So Tamara's like,
I drive Harleys now, bro. I could kick someone's ass at any moment.
I'm actively lowering the home values of my neighborhood with my giant truck right now. That's what I do.
Yes.
So Tamara's like,
Did you see what Eddie did to Ryan?
well, I don't blame him. You think Shane would be happy to see someone that fucking trashed me? I'm like, I think Shane would be, actually. This is what Shane would do.
What? They were funny. What are you going to get mad at comedy?
He crossed the line like a little fucking bitch.
And then Emily's like, don't say the little bitch around Shane. And we get a flashback. Thank you, editors, for this. For Kelly Dobbin. You're a bitch. You're a little bitch. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a stupid bitch. You're a bitch. B-I-T-C-H, bitch.
And then Emily crawling over the standing table to be like, don't you talk about my turkey sandwich. Your husband. My husband like that. How dare you?
Who's the bitch now?
And Emma's like, right? I don't get it,
Actually,
but right?
Your husband is literally running around the room trying to avoid somebody and like snickering behind their back. I think in this case, your husband's a little bitch. At least the other guy came up and said, hey, you want to talk? And he's like, no. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Ryan's
you got to hand it
bitch
to
in this
Ryan.
one.
Ryan did control the narrative of this moment. He was like, I'm going to be like unavoidable, right? Like you want, like, I'm not afraid. He did the power move. So,
well, it's also kind of the husband norm, and it obviously it's not 100% reliable, but it's a norm on these shows that the husbands make up with each other. Because you know how there's always a husband every year who's like, these women, they just fight, but we're men, and men don't do that. Look how men can just golf the next day. There's always that whole
that's
thing.
what they do.
And that's what they do. And so Ryan's trying to do that. And Eddie's like, no, bitch. He's been with Tamara. He's like, hey, bitch. He's like just ready to like have a big housewives fight at any moment.
He's like, I'm a bad bitch, baby. So then Ryan.
bitch. You want to pick
So Ryan's like, he wouldn't even say hi. He wouldn't even give me a hug. He's such a clown, a baby bitch. So then Eddie, and then they're all kind of like still just sort of chatting and talking about like where they're going to sit and joking about like what would happen if Eddie and Ryan sit next to each other. And then Ryan, meanwhile, is outside with Matt, and Matt thinks he's going to have a nice conversation. And he's like, oh, so by the way, what do you do? He's like, oh, well, I'm in real estate development. I'm in development. I mean, like, well, she's been in the mortgage industry for 15 years. I'm doing all these projects in California. I love baseball. I love Ohtani. He's great on the Dodgers. Just like going up construction buildings. Have you ever been on a highway? I love a highway. I once built a cone, and that was on a highway once during an accident. So it was great.
Textiles, walls, pylons. You put shapes on top of each other, doors in them. Boom. Construction.
Yeah. I was once in the business of mirrors, but like the mirrors that they make for those movies was like two guys are carrying a mirror across a street and then a car goes through it. You know what I'm talking about? Those mirrors, we make those.
And he just keeps talking and talking, and they do that edit where it just makes it look like he's talking for 10 hours. And Matt's just like, oh God. I mean, if Matt had any color in his face, it would be drained out,
Yeah.
He's just like, oh God, what have I gotten myself into?
It's like, Ryan, this is a man whose career centers around golf. You've talked way too much. This is a quiet man. So
Matt's just like, play through.
4, as in I need 4 lines and that's it. So Eddie is all of a sudden like saying to Tamara, pace yourself on the drinks, please. As it like, no, let Tamara get wasted and be the disaster that she is. Okay.
He knows what's coming, He knows.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tamara, tell the bartender I need a drink. She's like, you want champagne? So she goes over and she's holding 2 drinks and the martini just spills all over. She's spilling it,
Lucille Blue thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And Emma's like, you ding dong. She's like,
Sorry, I was trying to cover your glass. Oh, geez, I'm not going to make an effort to clean that up.
and Emily's like, you can't take her anywhere, right, guys? And then we see Eddie looking concerned / disgusted in the back.
It was an amazing shot. God, these we have to give credit to the camera people on these shows because they have to see in that moment like what what dynamics are playing out and what needs to be like when to do that rack focus shot, and they did it. And like, ooh, Eddie seething with rage as Tamara drinks her martini. I'm like, this feels like it should have been a bigger storyline. Like, clearly Eddie has some feelings about Tamara's drinking. Next season, I guarantee it'll be a thing.
Well, they're definitely putting the seeds there, and it's interesting because that's Tamara's whole season is accusing Shannon of being an alcoholic, and
which makes so much more sense now, by the way, because a lot of times people hate the things that remind them the most of themselves, right? So now, if the reason why Tamara is getting so angry at Shannon is because she's having issues with Eddie about this topic in terms of him coming down on her, whatever, then it's like, oh, this all makes sense.
It's interesting because it's a running theme in this show right now, because Emily's got all of her like internalized fat phobia and stuff like that that's coming out, and it's coming out all over the place, where she's like, oh, I'm not fat anymore. Why are people treating me like I'm some ugly fat girl? It's like, guess what? Not everybody has lost a ton of weight, and like for you to insinuate that it's ugly to not be like you, what size you are, is gross. But she's going, it's like you have to have some sensitivity for it because she's still going through the mind fuck of what that does to you, like losing weight. And it's kind of normal to have that, but it's just what you're saying, you know, it's like the thing you're having a problem with, you see in other people.
Yeah.
That's a real bitch, ain't it? God, I spend most of my time on this show projecting, you know, I should open a fucking movie theater. That's
why I'm so mean at people who have bad posture. I'm like,
fuck you, Bette Midler, die in a fire.
So then Jen is like, well, last time Tamara got super drunk like this, I literally had a napkin thrown in my face. Now, I have to say, Jen, you're on a show where Shannon Medora crashed a car into a building. And so like the napkin in your face thing, like I just feel like you can't offer that up as evidence of like, watch out, someone's drunk.
Yeah, that lady just pissed on the concrete of the pool last week. Okay. Having a napkin thrown at your face is nothing. I mean, the fact that she even held the napkin, she should get an award for.
Yeah. Like you didn't have the table flip. You didn't have a glass thrown. A napkin's pretty benign when it comes to reality TV and people getting drunk.
Yeah. So then Eddie's like, don't serve her any more alcohol, please. He's like, okay, done. That's hilarious. So then small talk about Katie and Matt's relationship, and how we know all this. And then Eddie's like, still looking for a good one, right? Huh? And she's like, he's combing the streets of Newport Beach for the right woman. They're like laughing and stuff. And Tamara gets,
by the way, I thought Katie's asshole.
Tamara's trying to make this party fun because, by the way, this is like the most boring dinner party. You can tell no one's having fun. And they're joking about how like Katie's like, I had underwear on, and she's like, that feels like your butthole. And Eddie goes, that's classy. Like, shut up, Eddie. God.
Eddie's so miserable. But Eddie's always been miserable. Eddie was never a smiley, happy person. He's always been misery incarnate. He's always had a frown on his face. And it's not like, he just doesn't smile. He has an active frown on his face, like a emoji, you know?
Yeah. But he honestly, the past few seasons, he's been more miserable than usual. Like before, he was always sort of like quiet and like not that fun. But now he's like, he just seems like a very sad person. Like he just seems miserable at all times.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
So Tamara's like, okay, fine, let's just do this. She goes,
can we talk about Alexis the other night?
And she goes, she was acting fucking crazy. Looney Tunes. Alexis didn't help that night at all. I feel like Heather and I, maybe we could have had like, I don't know, like just went and sat down if Alexis wasn't there, because I tried to talk to Heather and I tried to tell her how I felt from my heart as a fucking friend. And, let me just explain something to you, okay? You see me Ryan, you see me at the gym every day. I'm like, really, Emily, are you going to like fall into tears over this stupid fight you had with Heather last night at this party?
Yes, again. And so he's like, yeah, every morning she's there. She's at the gym. I see her there. She's there.
I mean, I hit on her every day.
Tried to fuck her every day for months. Hasn't happened yet, but I have faith. And she's like, yeah, when I go to a fashion show and there's two dresses that are identical and one for me is a size 12, do you think that hurts my psyche? Okay, but are you a size 12? like this is still what I don't get. And someone left a comment saying, no, the problem is that she put Alexis and Emily in the exact same dress, and Emily could see that there was a smaller version of the dress for somebody. Who cares? Are you a size 12 or not? You can't get mad at somebody else for giving you a size 12. I still don't understand.
I think that what for Emily, where she is I'm assuming one of the reasons why she's also feeling hurt is that like it's like Alexis in her mind, I can see her mind saying, oh, Alexis's dress is like the proper size. And the one that Emily is wearing is and by the way, if you're plus size, here's an option for you. And that's kind of like, I don't think she wants to be the plus size option, I'm assuming. But of course, as we've all said dozens of times, but it doesn't even matter because it doesn't matter what we say, is that she looked obviously fucking hot in it and gorgeous, but and it didn't come off like, oh, this is just some plus size option. It looked like this is a dress, this you can wear it like this or you can wear it like this. But like in her mind, I'm assuming because she's been working so hard, like she has all this baggage that she brings to it. So I
think just as someone who struggles with weight and is a bigger person, it starts feeling offensive when someone is like, ooh, a size 12. Like, I'm mortified. I've been working on it. I'm not disgusting like that anymore. And it feels like mean. It feels like mean to me. I'm like, leave me the fuck
That's
out
interesting.
Like, why do you have to be mean to other big people about it? And I know that that's a part of it. Like I said before, that is just like your own personal shit to work through, and it doesn't really have anything to do with anybody else. But it still feels gross, and I don't like it. And I don't like that no one's told her like you're being fat phobic to other people who are bigger. Like a size 12 is actually not that big. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's weird. And then the other thing is she keeps saying that she's not accusing Heather of fat shaming her. Well, if you're not accusing her of that and you're saying that it's a problem within you, then why is it a problem with Heather? I think you are accusing Heather of fat shaming you. And I think that Heather is kind of guilty of being really insensitive in that regard.
I don't think
I wouldn't be surprised if she was, honestly.
Yeah, I actually think that what Emily's saying is like, I don't think that she's fat shaming me, but this dress inadvertently triggered something in me, and I want her to acknowledge that she should be aware of what may trigger me. And I think that she's like, I think she wants Heather to show her more care. And yeah, I think that Heather is like, I did show you care. I let you talk to me.
I did show you care. I gave you 3 gigantic dresses. Do you know how much fabric that was? Do you know how many trees and cotton fields died for those dresses?
I said you were my favorite Muppet. What more care do you need?
No one's better than Snuffleupagus. Yeah, I get Emily's thing overall, but she just is so Emily about it that it's starting to get like, okay, shut up and stop calling me fat. I'm starting to project it to my own self where I'm like, you need to leave me alone now. Okay. Because now you're pissing me off.
Yeah. So Tamara's saying that she does feel bad for her. And Jen says, it would have been awesome for everybody to let you two have the conversation. It's unfortunate she didn't give you the time to do that. And there was all that noise with Alexis. And they're like, yeah, she was crazy, whatever. And Tamara's like, well, by the way, everyone, People magazine came out with an article basically saying that John is now officially suing Shannon. So should we pop open some champagne?
So then she's like, oh,
and then I called on Shannon to see how she went, and she didn't answer. But then she butt-dialed me, and she was crying. And she said Alexis is behind all this, and she blamed it on Alexis. And she said she was sad, she was tired, she can't go through this. So much blame on Alexis. I mean, give me a break, am I right?
Yeah, but if I was Shannon and I had been sued by Alexis and her ex-husband, and now Alexis and her boyfriend, I think I get it. And she was like, yeah, you cannot put those two together. And she's, no, I know, but in Shannon's mind, remember, Shannon is, deranged. That's probably what she's thinking.
Yeah, but also, how do you not put those two things together? That's yes. Ridiculous. It's called like evidence. I mean, she sued.
It's called a pattern.
Yeah, it's called a pattern. I mean, give me a fucking break. Of course you put those two things together.
Well, I'm here to give a talking head, and I think that Alexis's PR team is behind this because People magazine article 1,000%. I'm gonna borrow the page to soar about 1,000%. Not one doubt in my mind. The same things happened with Tamara and I when we got sued by the Bellinos for defamation. The press got a copy of the complaint before we did. Ha!
I mean, clearly the reason why Shannon doesn't like her isn't because of the lawsuit. It's because she's bringing her ex-boyfriend.
Two things can be true at once.
Yes, I was like, it could be all of the above.
The lady sued her for all this money, got a lot of money, and now she's banging her ex-boyfriend to get on the show, which I don't care what anybody says. It's a little bit coincidental that this is all happening, that suddenly Alexis has a job and it happens to be anti one of the stars of the show. I mean, come on, give me a fucking break. Of course she doesn't like her.
Let me ask you a question. Riddle me this. Would you rather pay someone $70,000 to pay them off or go to court?
Ryan's like, is embezzling an option? So Shane's like, well, he needs to know.
How about you pay me $70,000 and I'll put it in my friend's account? And then you'll get payments on that from different accounts all over the world, month to month.
Oh, Tamara. So Shane's like, he's like, wow, man, legal. I'm bored. And we're like, oh, she did all for them. They basically are all like saying she should have just paid it, made her life easier because she's now going to have to go to court, spend more money. And in the end, she still won't get the non-disparagement thing because that's only something that you can get during a settlement. So they're basically saying she should have just moved on. But I get that. I mean, there's part of me that feels that way too. But I don't know that like I think Shannon coming to the table and saying, "Okay, I'll give you money." That was her saying, "Okay, I will pay you to move on with my life." And the fact that he still wouldn't sign the non-disparagement thing. Is so
that ultimately I think that makes him the most disgusting person. He's gross. I mean, look, just to be fair, of course, Shannon does have the new face. You know what I mean? So she did, whether or not he gave it to her saying it was a gift or whatever, she does have the new face. So, I mean, part of her could have been like, well, I mean, I am wearing the face, so I guess I could pay it back. You know, there's part of it. But I think there's so much emotional stuff tied to it, too, because she had David before, and David right now is embroiled in more drama with his current lady with abuse allegations and stuff like that. And there were a lot of abuse allegations on this show against David. So Shannon's recovering from that kind of thing. And then with another controlling, weird, you know, at the very least, emotionally abusive personality like Johnny J. So she's probably like, might be a form of sticking up for herself, where she's like, no, fuck no. You didn't tell me I was paying that back and I'm not doing it. I don't care about the principle. Go fuck yourself. You're not going to control me. And I think that's why she has so many people cheering for her, you know?
And you know what? Like, if I remember correctly, she's saying it was a gift and he's saying it was a loan. So that's why he wants his money back, which is like, by the way, congratulations, Johnny J. You've just established that like any nice thing you buy for a lady in your life is actually potentially just a loan. So they're always gonna have to ask, is this a loan or is this a gift? He's just such a shitty, like low life. It's like pathetic.
Yeah.
And I think that Shannon at this point should get real petty and she should go through all her receipts and she should sue him for all the money that she quote unquote lent him.
And they're like, just let her, you know, just pay the money and then, you know, just leave Shannon alone and you can ride off to the sunset with your girlfriend and have a happy life. And then it cuts to Shannon with her nasal sucker sucking all the boogers out. She's like,
I know.
I'm sick to my stomach.
And she's like,
Archie, it's time for night. Get into bed.
And so Shannon's just like in her queen size bed with maybe king size with a giant pile of pillows next to her, like an enormous pile of pillows. And Archie's getting in bed with her and it's like 7 p.m. And she's like, all right, well, looks like it's time to go to bed. Well, you know, you got your carrot, Archie. So you've been fed. Come sit with me, your carrot giver. You want to sleep with me? You want to sleep with me, Ma? You want to sleep with mommy? No?
She's like,
it's a lot and I'm alone, but that's my choice because I want to be alone because I don't have my kids at home. We're just alone. But I have Archie.
And it just shows her slowly petting Archie in bed, looking miserable. I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ with this show. I mean, I would feel worse, except it's kind of every scene. It's like the fourth scene in this episode where Shannon's like, yeah.
It was so
fine. I feel great.
You know. So then next we go back to the dinner party and Shane's like, yeah, so what else was said at this party? Did anybody record it?
Can we talk about the elephant in the room, Betch?
Oh, are you talking about Ryan and Eddie? Huh?
Yeah, it's a pretty big elephant. That's two big elephants. Okay, well,
Yeah, basically Tamara opens up this topic.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah, you went on a podcast and you talked really mad shit about me. But not only me. You talked about me as a mom, Eddie as a businessman. Why would you come for the children? Why?
and he's like, validated after you treated me that way. She's,
Really? You're fucking kidding me? Really? 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 Really?
hold on, wait.
Really?
Now, you never talked shit about Eddie being a businessman, Ryan. You never did that.
Really?
And she's like, what did he say?
He said that people came up to you at our gym and talked shit about Eddie.
And she's like, no, he never said that.
He said it on a podcast, Jen.
And we hear the clip where Ryan said, well, when I did hear about Tamara and Eddie, it was nothing positive, which is so kind of like generic. I don't think that speaks to Eddie as a businessman. I think what is more damning to Eddie as a businessman are the warped floors at Cut Fitness and those empty shelves and the closed nature of the gym.
well, and also you outing your customers and what they're
And
doing
that too, by
with
the
their
way.
private lives. That's disgusting. Who would ever go to that gym when you've got somebody on national TV being like, oh, that guy was fucking ladies from my gym. I should be able to go to the gym and not have somebody reporting on who I'm fucking, sir.
Well, Cut Fitness was closed by that point, to be fair. Remember last season was the...
So what if what if your
death
shrink
cut-
stopped stopped shrinking, and then suddenly they came out with like, well, Ben fucked 10 people in the Cut Fitness. You're like, hey, you were my shrink.
Well, it would be interesting if Eddie gets mad at the vault men worker who was like, oh yeah, well, Tamara and Eddie were in here. He's like, that's a if he says that's a violation, then yeah, you're like turnabout is fair play, because ultimately your point, I do agree with your point, which is like, that's
It's
shitty
just
of Eddie to be going around talking about a client that way.
Yeah, it's unprofessional, no matter which way you cut it. But yeah, he could be like, I hate the vault now because like what would be
I don't out what cool jackets I'm going to be wearing on my Harley Davidson and my giant stupid truck.
Yeah. Okay. So then, Jen. So this is. He did say it. It seems like he did say it, but Tamara's making it into a bigger deal, especially after what she put them through, right? So then Jen and Ryan are insisting that this never happened. And Ryan's like, I talked shit about Eddie and supported him until he talked shit about me. And she's like,
Oh, he talked shit about you? Really? Oh, no, he didn't. No, I didn't.
and Ryan's like, yeah, you said you were in my backyard for a barbecue and that one of my friends came up to you and said, watch out for Ryan. He goes after married women. Is that what? And Eddie goes, but that's exactly what happened. Okay, well, maybe someone came up to the gym and said that about Ryan. I'm like, this whole thing, like, well, it's true that Tamara and Eddie have. It's still fucking rude and it's gross to be outing people on national TV. And if you don't like that, if you don't like it for yourself, then don't do it to other people.
Yeah, I mean, do I believe that Ryan goes after married women?
Yeah.
1,000%.
But like, if you're gonna get into the weeds about like, how dare you say Eddie is unprofessional, it's like, well, ultimately you did say this about a client at your gym on TV.
Yeah, and if the argument is like, well, it's the truth, so we're allowed to say it, okay, but he's allowed to be mad and retaliate.
He's allowed to say, I heard that, like, okay, you heard that women, you heard that, I think this is actually just what you said, but like, Ryan's allowed to say, if you heard that people say I go after married women, I'm allowed to say that I heard just things that were not great about you two. And that's so generic. It's so just like, I just didn't hear great things about them. That is actually it's not that it's benign, but it's really not that as nasty as it could get.
So Eddie's like, well, why would I make that up? And Tamara goes,
Oh, come on. I mean, Ryan, we all know that you like to fuck married women. It's the news on the street. We can make a list of them. And by the way, Jen was married when he fucked her too.
yeah, but so were you when you met Eddie. So Eddie worked for your ex-husband. I mean, the hypocrisy is ridiculous.
Well, let's just assume that's accurate, which it's not. All I know, some dude comes up to me and says, hey, watch out for Joe Blow. He's got a thing for married women, and he's talking about my chick. I'm sitting down with him in that moment and saying, you and I have a problem. He's like, yeah, well, you're not a threat to me, and I guarantee you would never have my wife. That's why it's not a big deal. It's like, but you guys were supposed to be friends at that time, so why why did Eddie not go up to Ryan and say, yo, this person's talking shit about you?
Yeah. I think Eddie's saying, because I just assumed it was true, but I didn't care because it wasn't my wife, so who cares? But, you cared enough to say it on TV. So,
yeah.
And Tamara's like,
He's not a little bitch.
and then,
it cuts to Shane. It's like, trigger word.
Oh, she goes,
Yeah, he didn't say anything to you because he's not a little bitch.
and it cuts to Shane like,
Shirley
Why
Temple.
are you doing this?
Shirley Temple was a tap dancer and also a delicious soda.
Tamara, why are you doing this? And thank you so much, by the way. I really love you. She goes,
Because he's coming after my husband.
but you went after him. I told the truth. But why does it matter for you and he?
it's always,
But I told the truth.
so what? You did it in a horrible, mean, vindictive way that hurt the girl that you're talking to right now. So
He
Tamara's
went
like,
on a fucking podcast and ripped my husband apart and ripped me apart as a mom.
I'm like, you literally host a podcast where you do that every single week. We know, we were on it with you.
so he's like, I didn't do that. And so we see a clip of the podcast where the podcast host says, I don't know if she's still talking to her children, but she's also had that. And I totally feel like she wants what you guys have because it doesn't seem like she has it in her household. Well, they never said that. The podcast host said that.
Yeah.
And then Ryan responded, well, that's a tough one because I don't live under their roof. And the last thing I would want to do is speculate. So he actually kind of
literally
for you.
He literally hedged and didn't even say anything that could be interpreted in that way. And she's like, you went after Ryan. So then now we have some Ryan on Ryan action where Ryan's like, I didn't go after your son, Ryan. I just reposted a post saying you should stop talking about me and worry about your own Ryan.
She goes, oh, you think it's okay to go after kids, little children, little sweet, innocent children?
I did not say, I said, worry about your own Ryan. That's it. She goes,
But you posted a picture about Ryan's dick pic to compare it to your dick pic.
and Emily's like, wait, you're talking about your son?
Yeah, it was a picture from when he was about 18 years old, which is probably right around the time I tried to have him get Gretchen so wasted that he could sexually assault her in the bathroom at a party. That was a good one. That was a classic.
This is such a stretch. I'm sorry. I don't even remember any sort of Ryan dick pic thing. I believe it happened. I'm sure it was a thing we talked about, but like, I guarantee, like, I would never. They put this on screen, the post. I never would have looked at that picture of Ryan and thought, oh yeah, this pertains to the dick pic.
Well, there was a link on it that said dick pic or something. So you click the link, and I guess because the post said,
I guess that was
basically what the post was saying was stop worrying about Ryan's dick pic and worry about your own son's dick pic. And then it was a link to the son's dick pic. And Ryan saw this and thought it was funny and was like, haha, and retweeted it. So Tamara's like, you're attacking my children now by retweeting that thing, which is just. I mean, come on. So Ryan is like, yeah, it had nothing to do with her son and some dick pic. I mean, it was like a dick pic. It wasn't a dick pic. It was just directed at Tamara. I don't even know the guy. And she's like,
it's just like a funny thing. It's like Ryan and Ryan. Yeah.
And it's like, worry about your own Ryan is all he saw, up according to him. And she's like,
well, it's one thing if you want to taste something from me, but when you attack my children, you're a dish. You win, Vicky. You win, Vicky.
Don't talk about my fucking kids because I will go after you if you ever go after my fucking kids.
He goes, I didn't go after him. I said, worry about your own Ryan. This is like Ryan's big defense. And she's like,
that's going after my kid. You fucking bitch. You're a bitch.
And Jen's like, why do you fucking sit there, Eddie? You and I have known each other for so fucking long. I've always supported you. And thank you, by the way. But I've always supported Tamara. Why would you allow this shit?
Yeah. And Eddie's like, what am I, your fucking keeper? And Jen's like, no, but this
apparently,
is
by the way, apparently, yes, according to what you were saying to everyone pouring booze tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And Jen's, I like that Jen's standing up for herself here. And she's like, no, this is bullshit. I've been nothing but good to you. And Tamara's like,
maybe because my husband's not a little bitch.
God, dude, it's 2024.
Do we have to?
I get the hypocrisy of me saying something like that, but it's like, come on. I feel like any other housewives, they'd be like, why would you say that? You're being mean to women by saying that or whatever. So she keeps like saying bitch like it's the ultimate I'm sorry,
Like-
diss or whatever. And Jen's like, my husband's not a little, I won't say the word. And Emma's like, Tamara, and trying to calm her down. And Ryan's like, are you really speaking to her like this at your age?
Wait a minute, you're age shaming me? Oh my God. I think one of my kids has just been put in the hospital after they heard that. You've hurt my children by age shaming me.
You're a little bitch. You're a little bitch. You're a little bitch. You're a little bitch. Well, act your age. How you age shaming me? It's like the moment it like just barely comes back to her. What are you doing? So Ryan's like, no, I'm just saying, like, who speaks like this, like as an adult at a dinner table? And then it cuts to him being like, God, Eddie's such a little bitch.
Yeah, but that wasn't at the dinner table, so that was a shady edit. He was doing that he was doing that off camera to him, like muttering to his girlfriend. So Tamara's like,
Oh, wow, you're so perfect.
you've lost the argument when you start going,
Wow, you're so perfect.
But
Sorry,
then
I'm not perfect. I guess you are.
And then she goes, how's the FBI going for you? Which was hilarious to me because it's like, well, she's getting ahead of the story. She's bringing the story onto the show. So Eddie is like, stop. And Jen's like, FBI? I don't even know what that stands for. Tamara goes, oh, you don't know anything about the FBI? Stop. It's not worth it. I'm not your keeper, but I'm going to tell you to stop.
So Jen's like, FBI? What are you talking about, Tamara? What are you talking about? Has somebody been following me and I haven't been thanking them? Because that would be so kind to look after me. And Katie's like, oh my God, I don't know what that even means. I'm not in the mob.
Yes, we can
You don't know what the FBI is because you're not in the mob? What the fuck? Why are people letting Katie have confessionals at this point? What are you talking about?
I know.
So then Emily's like, well, I do know that Ryan and this guy are being investigated by the FBI because they go to Vegas a lot. And I mean, how much smoke can there be before there's actually a fucking fire, right?
And yeah, so basically Ryan was raided by the FBI 6 months prior, which I think we knew about, right? Didn't we know about this raid? I can't remember if we knew it, didn't we?
Yeah, it's come out in the news. He's basically like a bookie, I think. He's doing some kind of bookie and money laundering thing. Well, he's accused of doing that.
He ultimately, the charges come out, or what he's implicated with is this whole disaster with this Dodgers pitcher, Ohtani, and everything like that. But I think when the raid happened, I don't think we knew what the raid really meant. We just knew that it happened. So
you know what? I still honestly don't understand it, and here's why. It's about sports.
Yeah.
And I just have that kind of brain that when it turns to sports, I don't care. Like my brain can't pay attention. It literally cannot pay attention to it. So sorry.
FBI raids are in right now. Let me just say something. They are in. Ryan is very on trend.
Yeah, we see you in New York. Good luck over there.
Yeah, between him and Eric Adams and Diddy, I mean, this is really just a great week for raids.
People going down.
Yeah. So Tamara's like, she's like, I am done. Where's my purse? Give me my purse. I am done. So she just starts to storm out, but no one goes after her, and she goes through the producers and stuff. And
then she trips.
She's like, I'm going to go by myself. Get with, I don't even care. I don't even need a car.
And then she trips, and then she turns around and sees the camera caught it. And she goes, God damn it. She slams the door at the cameras.
And then Ryan's
she pulled
saying,
the Mickey on that one.
She really did. And Ryan's like, you know what? Like Tamara takes anybody who's happy and tries to railroad them because she's miserable. Her marriage is a sham. Eddie is soft. He's unemployed. When others are doing well and real love is being shown, she can't handle it because it's everything she doesn't have.
And Eddie goes, it doesn't need to be like this. Well, Eddie, you're kind of stirring the pot and lighting the fire. So I don't know why you're acting like you're just some innocent victim in all of this. This is mostly.
And also, by the way,
buddy.
Also, honestly, Eddie, it's your beef with Ryan, and you just had Tamara do all the legwork.
Yeah, so keep going around calling people a little bitch.
Yeah.
So then the thing of Tamara stumbling out and then slamming the gate on the cameras was so funny. What a way to end this episode. What a great episode. Fun times.
Great
season. Great season so far. Thanks everybody for being here. Guess what? Next week, huge week for us. We've got 2 recaps of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives coming out, which we're super excited about. We are barreling through that, not really, because you guys have already watched it, but go check out those recaps. We're having so much fun doing them. And then also next week, Real Housewives of New York City begins. So get over on Patreon, sign up for your bonuses and your videos, and you can watch us every day. Wouldn't that be more fun? Come on, guys.
Come on,
And,
do it.
you know, whether you're on Patreon, whether you're not, we love you. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you so much. Guys, we love you.
Really
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really love you. Guys, thank you.
Every weekend.
Please don't ever change a thing. We love you.
Thank you so much.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors.
Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Aaron McNicholas.
She don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
She's a total knockout. It's Katie Manock. Kristen the Piston Anderson. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Let's get feely with Maggie Sheely.
Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman. The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh. She's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
Ring that bell for Rachel.
She's the queen bee. It's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.